I've had a few of you ask about portraits, and I totally get it. They can feel a bit intimidating at first, all those proportions, angles, details, but honestly, portraits don't have to be complicated. Today, I want to show you how to approach them in a way that's fun, relaxed, and beginner-friendly. We're not going to dive into the nitty-gritty of those formal techniques like the Loomis method or the Riley method or any other method, to be honest. This isn't about perfection or realism, it's about getting something on the page that is expressive and enjoyable to draw. I'm going to walk you through the simple proportions that I like to use, point you towards some helpful resources and give you some ideas for making portraits a regular part of your creative practice, even when you're not sure what to draw. The truth is, portraits are a brilliant go-to when you're stuck. They'll teach you how to really look and they'll help you grow as an artist. So grab your supplies, open up your sketchbook and let's get going. Looks up, then there is drop with this. So I'm just going to show you something that I in and out of what is in here. A Jake Spicer book, women's heads, different age. Let's talk proportions. This is how I would start if I was a complete beginner. You don't have to do these every time you make a drawing. You want to start eyeballing it as soon as you can. But if you know these, you can keep checking, and if you've got a problem with your drawing, you've got something to go back to. Right, so what you want to do first of all, some people draw an egg shape. I like to start with a circle because I can measure it. I can check that it's a circle, whereas an oval is a little bit more loose perhaps. So we'll turn on the overhead camera. Yeah, try and hold your pencil, whatever you're using, as loose as you can. And it doesn't matter if you go wrong. We're just learning, okay? So draw your circle. And then what you want to do is make a little cross. So I'm going to do a few on here because I want you to see each step as we go along. So draw your circle, put in your cross. Draw your circle. And put in your cross. So the first thing you're going to do is put two lines on this middle axis, and that is your eyebrow line. So it's as simple as that. And in fact, we'll take it one stage further. What we're going to do next is just roughly divide the bottom half into 3 and the top half into 3. This top line here is your hairline and the bottom line is your nose line. So we'll do it again on this one. So we're putting your eyebrows, which is on the middle axis, horizontal one, and then divide it into 3, hairline, divide it into 3, nose line. Okay. Now the next step is this measurement from here to here, the middle, the cross bit, to the nose line. We're going to drop that down again, and again just eyeball it, and that's your chin. So now we've got the chin line. We can just roughly just shave off a little bit of your circle and then connect. Okay, and that is the outline of your face. Okay, so again, remember this is just to check measurements to give you an idea. So again, we'll start again. So eyebrows, you find your nose line, you find your hairline, drop it down again, shave a little bit off and connect. Just press lightly, remember, don't do anything hard. And you've got your chin line roughly. So with this one here, we're going to divide it into 2, and this height wise, so we divide it into 2, and there is where we're going to place our eyes. Simples, okay? So what we want to do next is find where we're going to put our mouth, and again you divide it roughly into 3, this area here, and the top third, this one here, is your lip line, and then your chin is going to be somewhere around here. that is your basic outline for the head. And then we can build on this a little bit. So again, draw a circle. We'll start from scratch. Draw a circle and put your cross lines in. Put the eyebrows. Okay, find the bottom third. Find the top third. Drop this measurement from here to the nose line down again. Shave a little bit off the side. Join. Join. Nose line, find about halfway, which is there. Okay. Eyes. Divide this into 3. Lip, mouth line. Okay, so we're just going to build on this a little bit now. You've got to remember there are 5 eyes across the head. So as long as you can fit 5 eyes in, I'm just going to put some lines in here. And I'm just going to draw in a rough eye. We're going to make those eyebrows look a bit more eyebrow-like by just drawing a little like that. Again, at the nose, I'm going to put a little ball, because remember the nose, you've got the ball of the nose, and 2 C's like that. And then we'll make some lips on this lip line, and then a little bit down like that. Put a bit of a chin in. Okay. And then we're going to make the jawline a little bit more square. I think it's always good to make it a little bit more square. And then we're going to add our ears, sorry. The ears sit between the nose line and the eyes. So they stand out from the head a little bit. Some people's connect all the way up, but we're going to have ours more often than not. I think they come out from the head like that, especially looking at them as a front view. And then let's plop in some irises, some pupils. We're going to feather out our eyebrows a little bit. Now the hair always sits away from the skull, so don't put it right on it. You want to have it like something like this. We'll have her, we'll make this a her, shall we? And I think we'll do some crazy hair thing like that. So you always want to have one eye between these as well. So that's roughly about right. These are your basic proportions. Now, one next thing is always add a neck, because you don't walk around neckless, do you? So males tend to have thicker necks, and I would say actually she needs a thinner neck than that. Yeah, females have slightly thinner necks. Do you want to do it one more time? In fact, do it 2 more times and you might remember. Again, you're not always going to start your portraits like this. It's just to give you some ideas of where you place your features. So your basic proportions are, you've got 3 parts to the head. That isn't actually looking, I should probably place this a bit lower. So this is a third. This is meant to be a third, and that is meant to be a third. So from your chin to the bottom of your nose is a third. So we'll call that the nose line. The chin, bottom of the chin, your eyebrows, and the hairline. Okay, so we've got a third, a third, a third. Obviously this is looking at a face straight on. If somebody looks up, then their ears drop down. They're not going to come in line with your mouth. And if you look that way as well, that alters it. So this is for somebody looking straight on. And the reason that happens is you've got all the foreshortening effects. But you can still use this if you are doing a 3/4 view or a slight 3/4 view or even a side-on view. They still work. Just be aware it can go, because of foreshortening, then all these measurements will look a bit different. But that's for another video. We're just going to get used to getting this in. All right. If you really want to gain confidence or improve your portrait sketches, then having some type of project or a dedicated sketchbook can really help with this. So I'm just going to show you something that I like to do. So this is a little sketchbook kit that I keep, and it's inside this pouch. So let's have a look inside. So first off, I've got a little sketchbook. It's like an A5 size. It's a little moleskin or one of those Art Talons Creations sketchbooks would do. I've got a Derwent tone and shade set, which I will show you. And I think this is a brush that belongs to it. And then also I've got a selection. If you're liking this video so far, a quick like and subscribe really helps this channel grow. If you could share it, that would be great too. Drop a comment, I'd love to hear from you. And thank you. Of pens, and there's a couple of clips in there as well. I call this my historical sketchbook. So I keep like browns and sepias, and there's some blacks in here as well. And there's a very simple rule for this sketchbook, and that is that I can only draw in pen with it, and I can do a bit of paint with it, that's fine too. But basically it's to get you from, or to stop you from using pencil and rubbing out and overthinking it really. The idea is just to go in and get on with it and get out. So you want to aim for, I don't know, it's up to you really, but anything from, I don't know, 10 minutes to 40 minutes a sketch, something like that. I'd say typically when I've worked in here, I've spent probably about 20 minutes in here, and I really enjoy it. Anyway, I'll show you the pens first. First off, we've got some sepias, and I've got the Unipin pen type, which is this lovely sort of sepia brown, obviously, and I've got a 0.5 and the brush in that, and also I've got one of these large sepia sort of brush pens. So I'll try and put links below if I can find them. Apologies if I can't, but they should be below. And then I also have the black, so I've got a black set. I've got a 0.1. I really like the 0.1s for drawing with, and I think these are a great option if you are a beginner and you do usually go in with pencils. Then the 0.1, I don't know, it just seems kinder to go in with. So I've got 0.1, a 0.3, something a little bit thicker, and then the good old pencil brush pen. So you can get all different types of line with this, thick ones, thin ones, you name it. They're those. And then I've also got the sanguine set that I like to use, and this is an even thinner sanguine, or point I should say. You can hardly see it. The only thing with these really thin pens, I should warn you, is that they don't last quite as long. I suppose it's because they take a bit more of a battering on if you look at the size of that. And then there is also a fine in the sanguine, and and then there's a B for, I don't know if that's bold or brush, I think it's brush. So it just gives me a few options. And then the set that I like to use, or that I have been using recently with it, is a really nice simple set to use, and that's their Derwent Shade and Tone Mixed Media set, which is great for what I'm going to show you because it is all sepias, sanguines, charcoals, browns, and it works really well for this. And because you've got everything, you've got your little water brush here, which annoyingly doesn't fit quite in there, and you've got the sponge to keep it clean, you've got some palettes, and I find this works really well, but you could use anything, it doesn't have to be this. So that lives in there. The rule is that you can only use pen in it, and it's just for having fun. That's the idea, because if it's fun, you'll keep doing it. So with no rubbing out, I know it seems terrifying, but actually it's really enjoyable. And the idea is to try and get in a quick daily little sketch if you can. And honestly, that will really improve your sketch. And honestly, it really is relaxing. And some of the drawings, if not all of the drawings, might look comical, they might be funny, but it's just a way to start looking, start observing, and getting a bit braver with putting marks down. So I'm just going to take off this two glass effect. How many people go around with two pairs of glasses on there? I am never going to get my silver YouTube play button, am I, at this rate? Let's have a look inside. First off, when you open it up, you've got this is all the drawings, little drawings that I've done, and they're all from old masters' works. So we've got everything from Van Dyck to Rubens, Rembrandt, Fragonard, I think that's how you say it, Gainsborough. I've got some unknown ones in here as well that I'm not that familiar with. Like, I didn't really know Greuze. There's Dürer and Ripon, Vermeer, Caravaggio, Courbet, and yeah, there's some other ones that I'm not so familiar with. So what I like to do is, in my notes app, I keep a list, and that list has on it direct links to some master's works that I found when I've sat down and been having a cup of tea or something like that. I've gone onto some different websites, and every time I found a drawing that I think, oh, or a painting I should say, that I think, oh, that'd be nice to copy, I copy it and then I paste it into my notes app, so that when I've got 5 minutes, I don't have to overthink it or start looking through, scrolling through loads of websites. It's all there in a list, and you can repeat some of them as well. So some of the websites that are useful are the Web Gallery of Art. You could go to the Rijksmuseum website, the Tate website, Met website, the National Gallery, Royal Collection Trust, and even WikiArt to get you started. Those are just a few. There are many, many more. And once you start looking, you'll start thinking of other ones that you can use. And the YouTube channel that I originally got this idea from is called The Drawing Database, and it's a lecturer, a college lecturer, uni lecturer, and basically he's made some videos for his students and told them that, you know, this is how to get going with it. So he gives them some examples. I will link those below because they're really good videos. I really like them. And he shows you all his sketchbooks that he's done, so it's really inspiring. And yeah, that's what gave me the idea. I'll just show you the type of thing. I don't know if I can get this onto camera. So you're just making quick outlines with one of your pens, and then you can add a bit of colour to it afterwards. But you don't always have to. Remember, these are 5, 10, 15, 20-minute studies, sometimes a bit longer. And I found it a great way to really learn quite a bit about works that I was unaware of. And yeah, it's just a really nice thing to do. So you can work this way around in your sketchbook, or you can work in different areas. And I'm just going to show you this one, which is what the college professor actually did. I think I was trying some water-soluble oil paints out on this page, so I prepped a couple and thought I'd have a go with that. I was using 2 different tones of pen. So I'll just quickly whip through the ones I've got. You can add some splatters. Some of them are going to work out, some are going to look pretty awful, and you're going to get everything wrong. But it's just all about looking, putting some marks down, and improving. I think that's a Courbet. It's a great way to learn about other artists from the past, different styles of art. Sometimes they'll come out and you really enjoy them. Other times you might find them a little bit frustrating, but you're gonna build up this little sketchbook just full of sketches that will help you improve, I promise. It gives you a chance as well just to try different things. Try combinations of paint. Try different ways of starting your drawing. You could start from the eyes and work out. You could start even with the brushing one of the pans, using those maybe to sketch. You can try fine drawings, or you can try heavier lines, cross-hatching. I think I did that with a fountain pen. Try linking them together. It just should be a lot of fun. And be enjoyable, most of all. And the last one I filmed for you, so I'll pop that one in now. Good morning. I've just come into my little studio and I'm going to do a quick sketch. So I thought I would show you what I'm going to do. First of all, I should say I pulled up on my tablet because I find the phone a bit too, or my mobile, a little bit too small. So the tablet is a much better size for me, and you can zoom in and out, so that's great. And I've mentioned before, I keep a list on my notes app, which is really useful, of pictures, portraits that I can sketch. So I've just found this charming lady of a self-portrait in a straw hat. Now, let's have a go at pronouncing her name. Elizabeth Louise Vigie Lebrun. Obviously a female artist. Obviously a female artist, which is quite nice to see. So, anyway. And that's me in a mess. Right, and yeah, let's get back to what I was talking about. This is my little sketching pouch, which contains everything you need for making a quick portrait sketch. Okay, so for this sketch I'm using one of my favourite Unipin pens, which is a lovely rich sanguine tone, which colour I think fits perfectly for these historical portraits. It sort of mimics the look of those old chalk or red Conte, which were used in the Renaissance drawings. Anyway, there's something timeless about it, and it just feels right for this kind of subject. As you can see, I don't begin with any structured method, which I showed before. Instead, I just keep sketching and eyeballing the proportions. I keep the pressure really light at first, and that way I can build up gradually and commit only once that I'm happy with the basic structure. What I love about this approach is the freedom it gives. There's no eraser, there's no strict plan. It's just a soft layering of marks, which will slowly take form. It allows for little moments of intuition, and I guess it's a really natural progress. In the early stages, I'm thinking more about the flow and gesture and trying to keep away from details, which can be tough at times. I try to feel out the weight of the hat, the way it balances with the hair, and the turn of the face. You might notice how I slowly begin reinforcing the lines that I'm confident with, letting the sketch emerge layer by layer. That's really the key with this kind of drawing. A little bit of patience, lots of observation, and just let the portrait reveal itself. Something else that I love about this kind of historical sketch is imagining the character behind the pose. I mean, who was she? What was her story? The feathers, the hat, the expression, all of it adds to a sense of narrative. And even though it's a quick study, I try to infuse a little bit of personality into the face through the eyes or the mouth. I'm deepening the shadows slightly, still with the same colour of pen. I'm not worried about perfection, I'm just trying to keep the lines expressive and alive. Sometimes I'll even switch grip or change the angle of the pen just to vary the texture and the weight of the line. This sketch only took about 20 minutes in total. Tried to keep the hand moving for this type of drawing, not allowing myself to overthink it. Even though the sketch is quite loose, there's a real joy in capturing the essence of the face with just a few well-placed marks. Later on, you could add some watercolour to this, but sometimes it's best just to let the line work speak for itself. Hopefully, this inspires you to pick up a pen, any pen. It doesn't have to be a sanguine one, but just start sketching without too much planning. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful, and the most important part is to have fun, and then your time is never wasted. If you're curious, I do have other portrait sketchbooks which are quite different in styles. Some are more polished with detailed drawings that take a couple of hours, while others are just for experimenting with and practicing every day or for new ideas. I also have a video focused on painting portraits in gouache. Though I used acrylic gouache for that one, you can absolutely use regular or designer gouache too. It does cover some colour mixing, and also my video on the Caran d'Ache Studio Gouache set also goes into a bit of colour theory too. So I'll try and leave some cards at the top of the screen if you're interested in checking those out. Just going to take this opportunity as well to show you a few books that I've got. So I've got 3 here, so let's have a look. In no particular order, this is a Jake Spicer book called You'll Be Able to Draw Faces by the end of this book. What a great promise that is. Jake Spicer was one of the, if not the founding person to set up Draw Brighton, which I am a patron of. And yeah, they are a brilliant site to go and get photos. They do brilliant collections that you can use for figure drawing, obviously portraits. It's a great community on there. There's tons that you can do on there. Anyway, go and check it out. It's on Patreon and it's a really reasonable price for all the resources that you get. So this is one of his books. He's got quite a few and it's like a workbook. He encourages you to actually draw in it. So it's got all of what I do like. I just mentioned that it lays flat, which is really nice. So just take that out. Yeah, it's full of, if you're stuck, it's always good to have a book like this because it immediately just, you can look something up if you're struggling, for example, with proportions, or I don't know, you can't get that angle right on an eye. You don't know how to draw your neck, so you've got a baseball cap to draw. It would just help you out if you are stuck. It's a very practical book, and there is a section on things like the hair, the ears, and just whip through these. The chin and jawline, which is really important. The muzzle around your mouth, how to draw lips and the mouth, nose, glasses, eyes, eyebrows. Yeah, it's a really good book. I've just used it really to dip in and out of if I'm stuck or a bit rusty, and it just gets you going. So yeah, that's definitely one to check out. A similar one, but much older, is this book, which a lot of you may have already come across, and it's Drawing the Head and Hands. And this is a book which explains, or is where the Loomis method originated from, and it's by Andrew Loomis. It was written in the 40s, so the drawings do look like they've come out of the 40s. But yeah, it's great for just copying, I find. When I started drawing portraits, I would just select some and just have a go at copying them, and it's just really good practice. And obviously it explains the Loomis method in lots of detail. And it's got a section on women's heads, different age groups, and different expressions. How we're all different. And this really does obviously go to town with explaining the Loomis method. So that might be something that you're interested in. It does help, I find, particularly just for copying, to be honest. But I did read it about a decade ago. And it's good for the hands as well, because hands are so difficult, and that really is something that I am not practiced at, and I really do need to. So it's a classic book. If you haven't got it, that could be one for your list. I thought I'd give this one a mention as well. It's Lynn Chapman's Sketching People book, which is really fun. I really like Lynn's work in here, and I like the fact that she uses Inktense as well. So it's obviously a much more up-to-date book. Lynn Chapman is a urban sketcher. I think she has a channel, but she's really well known in the urban sketching world. And it's got some great examples of her sketches. I'll just show you that one there. That's obviously using Inktense. And it's just fun. And she's got some great little tips in here. And again, it's just a book that really I've dipped in and out of. I've just had by the bed and just read little bits here and there. She also mentions and has examples from other artists as well. Is his name Lupin? I've not got my glasses on, so I can't see. But well, that's obviously an Inktense one here as well. And I think urban sketching is great. It's something I've not really done, but I definitely would like to have a go at. So some helpful tips as well about areas of the body, like the feet, depicting different ages. Some more Inktense examples here. So I'm whizzing through these really, on their skin tones. That's quite nice. How to tackle ears. Ears can be really difficult. Yeah, another nice book, and there's a picture of Lynn as well. So yeah, check this one out. As before, I'll try and put a link below. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe for future painting sessions, sketchbook peeks and art hauls and much more. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new uploads, and let me know in the comments if you have any tips or ideas to share. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, see you soon. Bye.